going to call the March 9th Caroline County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Board members present are Mr. Floyd Thomas, representing the Mattapanai District, Mr. Jeff Black, representing the Western District, Mr. Reginald Underwood, representing the Reedy Church District, Mr. Wayne Akers, representing the Madison District, Mr. Jeff Seeley, representing the Bowling Green District, and I'm Calvin Taylor. I represent the Port Royal District. Mr. Underwood, would you do the invocation, please?
Yes, sir. Would you all stand, please? Most gracious and Heavenly Father, once again come before you asking for your blessings over our meeting, asking you, Heavenly Father, to touch our minds and our hearts, enable us to do the work of the county. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for all of our servicemen at home and abroad, asking you to protect those who protect and serve us. We give all thanks, all blessings in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chairman, no amendments to the agenda.
Okay. I would just like to ask, is there someone here from VDOT? Do we have anybody? I talked to Mr. Nelson, and he said he would either come tonight or he would send someone. I wanted to just get sort of an update on the closing of the bridge on 606. Yes. So if someone comes, we can allow them to speak, to answer questions, or give us an update at that time. Yes, sir, Mr. Okay. That takes us to opening board comments. Mr. Thomas, do you have any?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do. Thank you very much. Staff has made contact with the school administration. As you recall, at the last board meeting, I asked if we could look into naming our field after Tony Beasley, and staff has made contact with the school board. I didn't think any board member objected, and the school board, the school staff has asked for a formal request, so I guess we need a motion or something for a formal request for them to at least look at it. And we could do that under new business if you'd like. I will remember.
Yes, sir.
A couple of other things. We have a great deal of construction going on in Carmel Church. You'll notice the Taco Bell is, signs are up and things of that nature, and there's also a medical professional building going up on Belmont right now. So those are some great things to see. And lastly, most of you are aware, and if you weren't, over the weekend the country celebrated the 50th anniversary of the March on Selma, crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And George Bush was there, former President Bush, along with current President Obama. I thought that was great, and I wanted to ask if the chairman would coordinate something for us to honor a local person, such as Mr. Lewis Jackson, who we all just saw in the Freelance Star, for his service, and also for the fact that he and his wife will be married 65 years next month. And I asked you to coordinate it because I think that's your family. So if you
it's not my family, but they're in my district, and I do know that quite well.
Okay. If you would do that, Mr. Chairman, I think that would be a great thing we could do at our next board meeting. And that was all I had, and I'll remember to bring up the motion for the school for new business. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Black?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to thank the board for obviously asking that we have the hearing for the Aqua Virginia rate case here in Caroline. That was granted since our last meeting. So there will be a hearing in regards to the rate case, one at 2 o'clock and one at 7 right here in this building. So I thought that was excellent news, so the citizens of Caroline can come out and talk about the burden that Aqua Virginia puts on their pocketbooks, especially with regards to water and sewer rates, obviously. Secondly, along that, tomorrow, the surcharge case, in which Aqua Virginia is trying to add a surcharge onto the bill, the hearing is in Richmond tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I'll be attending that. I'm not sure if anyone from staff will be there. We once again thank the board for using or asking the attorney to hear this case. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Mr. Underwood.
Hey, just one comment, Mr. Chairman. I'd certainly like to thank Mr. Cully for providing excellent leadership for the county during our inclement weather. I just think he goes above and beyond and goes the extra mile, and certainly, you know, people don't get enough accolades, or we don't say thank you enough. So certainly, Mr. Cully, from this board, I wanted to say thank you for all you do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, I only would like to, I know it's going to be later on the agenda, the improvements to the Lady Smith Elementary School playground and park, if you will. We spoke with, at our meeting between the chairman and vice chairman, and as you know, I asked the chairman and vice chairman, and they both have agreed to support this and to move ahead to give the county a long-term lease, whether it's going to be a 50-year lease or some type of agreement where we would have a long-term lease on the property. So I'm glad of that, and I think we need to, when the time comes, move ahead with that improvements, because we'll know we'll have control of it for quite a while.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Akers.
Thank you.
Mr. Seeley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was not able to attend the meeting with the town and AP Hill in regards to the natural gas pipeline. We are in the process of, the Military Affairs is actually drafting a resolution. We're going to move forward and try to have a meeting again to talk about bringing natural gas up 301, which would give this building and the schools an opportunity to actually connect. And I will say that I talked to Congressman Whitman that evening after the meeting, and he has said that the county needs to lead this effort because the majority of the pipeline is in the county. So in the future, I'm looking forward to us actually getting a proposal across the finish line with Columbia, but it is moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. And I would just add, if staff could look into doing what's necessary to get the papers drawn up to work with the pipeline and show our support as the board feels we need to be involved in it.
Well, Mr. Cully attended the meeting because I was unable, so he's well aware of what took place.
Okay, that takes us to presentations and reports. Recognition of Eagle Scout Luke Alexander Peterson. Is he here?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Peterson will not be here. I'd ask that staff prepare a resolution so we could, excuse me, so I could present it to him on Sunday. So if I could make a motion to approve the resolution, that would be it.
A motion would be in order then.
That was it.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second? Like it's moved and properly second that we prepare a resolution in honor of Eagle Scout Luke Alexander Peterson, and Mr. Thomas will present that to him as he is in your district, I believe. Is that on Sunday?
On Sunday.
Okay. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. Next on our agenda is the Rotary Club. I see Ms. Moyer, and I also see Reverend Fox. So you want to come forward at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, distinguished board members and staff. I'm here, my name is L.J. Moyer, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the Rotary Club of Caroline. I'm also here as a spokesperson, as the co-chairman for the Senior Citizens Christmas Gala. As you know, the gala started 15 years ago, and the very first gala we had 50 senior citizens attend. The last gala in December of 2014, we had over 600 senior citizens. It has become quite an event, and all of you have attended, and we appreciate that, and they appreciate that very much. The problem we're having is that we go out and raise money among the business people, And in the past, some have given more than others. But the ones that have given more than others have decreased their contributions through the years. Understandably so. We all know about the economy and how much it's affected everyone in Caroline County. However, and I don't know if you have a copy of this sheet that I put together of some expenses. Okay. Well, last year we did go in the hole. And we had, fortunately, we had two big companies that came into Caroline. Well, one was already here and the other one literally just came in. And we were fortunate enough to get some money from them to almost break even. Had we not, we would have been in the hole much more than $300. Also, the money that we collected was about $8,000 and some change, and we have averaged between $4,000 and $8,000. $8,000 is probably our top through the 15 years. But this thing has gotten so big, and it has gotten expensive. We don't want to cut back on our seniors. We either have to stay status quo or we have to keep on lifting the bar. I would like to see us keep on lifting the bar. Also, with the renovations for the gymnasium of the high school through the bond referendum, will allow us to have even more of a capacity there. So I'm looking in the future to have not only 600 plus people, but possibly 1,000 one day. And you may laugh and say you'll never get it, but that's what we said a long time ago, 15 years. And we got it. So there are a lot of possibilities. But what I'm here to ask, cut to the chase, is if, and you have been very, 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 very generous because you do help us financially with the gala. Not only that, but the county helps us with allowing your maintenance crew to help us with tables and chairs because we can't get those from the high school anymore. But if you can allow us, or if you can see your way to ramping up the help that we need, by the way, the $9,000 that we got for the 2014 gala, that does not include the in-kind contributions that we have gotten in the past year. One company actually brings their crew down for the whole day, so there's a cost involved there. They bring all these tremendous decorations and decorate the gym on their time, their dollar. They help us with the poinsettias because we only pay partial amount of those poinsettias that we give them. The poinsettias cost $6 a poinsettia. They're from the nursery, and that's a discount. 6 times 600 is $3,600. We only give $2,000, so they're picking up the other portion. And they have built a Santa shop where they have filled it with some unbelievable gifts. And last year they gave out watches, jewelry, blankets, jackets, ties, and a lot of the seniors, they did their Christmas shopping there. And one was crying because they said, this is the first year that I'll be able to give my grandkids a Christmas present. So, you know, what can I say? This is my passion. It is a signature event of Rotary. Actually, my good dear friend Lloyd Fox, who was a charter member of Rotary with me in the beginning in 1998 when we started, and it was actually his idea when we were assessing what we needed for the community, and Mr. Fox said, we need to do something for the senior citizens. And that was it. That was the idea, and it expounded from there. So if you could find your way to help us so that we know that we will have X number of dollars to operate on, because we can't plan it. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. Lloyd, would you like to say something? Oh, he's got to speak.
I'm Lloyd Fox. I'm from Western Carolina District, and the Honorable Jeff Black is my supervisor. To the chairman of the board, and to the board, to the staff, I'm here to support Rotary. I'm not a Rotarian at this time, but I still support Rotary and the senior citizens of Caroline County. So I want to take just a few moments to say thank you for the support that you have given us through the years, financially and physically, of this senior citizens event. The event has become the premier celebration for all senior residents of Caroline County and an opportunity for our youth and our seniors to bond. I want to thank you for the plaque that you give each year designating Senior Citizens Day. Many residents of the county look forward with great anticipation for this honor to them. Things are getting more and more expensive, as Ms. Moyer has said. Collecting donations are very difficult to come by, but we also want to enhance what we do. So I'd just like to ask you to just consider what Ms. Moyer has asked, and I want to say thank you again on behalf of the citizens of Caroline County. Now, when we first started this event, my hair was somewhat like Mr. Seeley, a little black and white, but now I'm all white. We had a chair for me, and now I'm old enough to sit in it, and sooner or later, many of us in Caroline County will have a seat there as well. So we're just sending things forward for ourselves as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Just before you sit down, board members may have questions that they would like you to address. I would just like to say on behalf of the board, first of all, thank you for the many years that you have sponsored this event. I believe I can speak for the board in saying we all recognize the importance of our senior citizens and what our senior citizens have meant to and still mean to this county. Certainly we are benefiting greatly from much of the wisdom and knowledge that the senior citizens display, and we will continue to do so. Having said that, I do realize that you are asking for an increase in funding to try and help you to continue to make this project successful.
That's correct.
I guess I need to ask you if you have a particular number in mind, at least
25,000.
Maybe you ought to ask that question again. See if he's got another
Well,
number.
but I'm sure that the insurance company will make a huge donation. No, seriously. But if you,
Yes, I do,
yes, okay,
Mr. Chairman. It's 10,000.
okay. And I had heard that number at some point. And before I go any further, I would see, I certainly feel like the citizens of Caroline County, the senior citizens of Caroline County, more than worth that. They worth the 25, and if we could afford to do that, I believe we would.
I know you would. I know that.
But I would like to hear from other board members or give other board members an opportunity to address this issue. Mr. Thomas, did you?
You got 9,000 last year
We had 9,000.
from the county.
Not from the county, no.
What did you
1,000
get
from
you
the
got
county.
1,000 from the county last year?
1,000.
1,000.
1,000 last
Yes,
year.
sir.
And now you're asking for 10,000. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure we knew what you got last year.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, Mr. Black, Mr. Underwood.
Reverend Fox, Ms. Moyer, certainly we've talked a little bit, and certainly I appreciate all that you do for our senior citizens, and I think it's a great thing. So you have my unconditional support. So I'm hoping that we can do all that you need to to do to make this what you want it to be for our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Mr. Akins? Okay. Okay. We can entertain a motion at this time if the board so desire. Well, we could do it in the budget process, but I was just saying that since everybody is in agreement with it, if we do the motion now, we don't agree too often, so we better go ahead and put this in writing, and then we can pick it up wherever we get it from. It's fine, but if
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we increase our contribution to the Senior Citizen Gala through the Rotary Club in the amount of $10,000.
is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we would increase our donation to the Senior Citizen Gala to $10,000. Are there questions?
I just asked Mr. Cully, since he's getting ready to do the budget presentation, I just hate to do that to him before he even gets up and does the presentation. We've already sort of put a hole in his budget. That was my only question to him.
Yeah, if we can't find 10,000 out of 90 million,
Mr. Chairman, could I have a point of discussion, though?
certainly.
If the board does decide to do this additional funding, can we make it a requirement that the Jeffs always have to dance?
Yes, we can, definitely.
And just them? Okay. It's worth $10,000 to me now.
That's worth 25,000.
Well, consider the rest in kind. Okay.
All in favor,
So
let it
noted.
be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, and the motion carries. Thank you very much. When this started, I had hair and it was black. So it's been a while.
I remember that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're
Appreciate it so much.
And thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, if the board would indulge me, Mr. Sean Nelson came in from VDOT, and Mr. Nelson, if you would not mind, if you could come forth now, you won't have to sit. I know you just love this meeting and you want to stay a long time.
I do. I love this place. Just wanted to come and provide you all an update on the Route 606 bridge, which we closed on February 27th due to an emergency. We had an inspection. There was found severe deterioration in the beams on the bridge, which our bridge engineer called me on a Friday afternoon and said, Sean, we have to shut down the bridge. This is something we take very seriously, and we don't often close bridges this fast, but the severity of the nature of the bridge and the condition, it suited. We had to close the bridge. As of right now, we've been working with emergency personnel, first responders in the county and state police to try to work through these things until we get the detour officially in place. We have to order over 100 signs for this detour. We started placing those today. We've had temporary signs up and message boards up until today. So hopefully by Wednesday, we'll have all of the signs in place. We've asked the consultant who is working on the design of the bridge to generate us an accelerated schedule for the plan. So we're hoping to have plans within 5 weeks for the bridge. We still have a funding issue. So we're working through the funding issue to try to find funds to replace the bridge. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to actually formalize a plan, whether it be a temporary bridge or whether we can escalate the construction to the point where we're not going to hinder the traveling public for over a year as far as keeping the detour in place. As of right now, none of that stuff is actually in concrete yet, so we're still working on the plan on how we're going to proceed going forward. This bridge was built in 1962. We had not seen very many issues with it until now. This last bridge inspection kind of took us all for a loop. So what we've done is we're looking back at past bridges that were built the same way, and we're checking around the county to see if there's any other bridges that may potentially have the same issue, and we're hoping that it's not. As I indicated, the detour is about 20 miles long. Some of the signage that we're putting up in place will also help with the Stonewall Jackson shrine that's there, so there will be signs to direct people who are trying to get to that destination. And at this time, that's my update. If anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I did have, and I'm sure, I don't know if other board members do or not. I guess one of the concerns that I do have is emergency services and getting to those people in the event of a fire or a serious accident or something of that nature. And when I hear a year, I mean, that's a long time. A lot of people can face a lot of injuries during that time. I guess my question is there any way possible, and I heard you mention something about a temporary fix or, and I don't know what that involves, but my concern basically is for emergency services and getting to those people in need, of an emergency.
And we have the same concerns. That's why I said within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to try to work out a plan to see what works with the funding we've got in place and what measures we can put in place to kind of give access back. So I'll probably have to come back next month to give you another update.
Okay. One other question I had. I noticed there's a state trooper who sits at Roselle Road and Macedonia Road, and, but a lot of people are trying to get to Guinea Station Road, and they aren't familiar with the area. I mean, you can go up Roselle Road, and then there's a little road off to the side, and you can kind of wind around through there. But people are kind of uneasy. They don't know whether they can bypass that trooper and just... Well,
the trooper is there to direct any trucks that come through that may get hung up by going down to the detour. So that's why we've had the trooper, and we work with First Sergeant Blydenberg to arrange that. But with the detour signs that are coming in place, and I guess I'll explain the way we do the detour. We do the detour for roadways that are suitable for trucks and passenger vehicles. So the 20-mile detour is the one that has the suitable roads to accommodate all traffic. There may be other shortcuts that the locals can take, but we're not posting those other routes.
Okay.
So hopefully by Wednesday, the detour issue will solve itself by all the signs we're putting up.
Okay. Other board members got questions?
I have one, Mr. Nelson, because there's another bridge in the Milford area you're going to look at. But the bridge was okay last year or not really okay. What accelerated the deterioration? Is it...
We've asked our research council to look into that also. I mean, when our bridge engineer found it out originally, she said she had not seen anything like it before. So she was having a hard time trying to diagnose what the actual root cause of it was. So we've actually engaged our research council to actually come out and look and try to help us figure out what caused this issue.
Okay. And your report was there are actually structural beams that have deteriorated, and that's why it's not safe for weight.
Yes. I mean, this bridge was not posted prior to, so we've gone from a bridge that was not posted to being closed, and that is extreme. We would never do that unless it warranted it. So
considering those extreme circumstances, I'm sure the Commonwealth will accelerate the funding.
Oh, we are looking. You best believe we're looking.
Looking?
We have to find it.
And I'm growing hair. Okay, so, I mean, time frame?
I say in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to formulate a plan of action of how we're going to take care of it.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
The other board members have questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Nelson. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to the county administrator's proposed fiscal year budget 2015-2016. Mr. Cullen.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have basically a brief highlight of the budget. We have a public hearing scheduled in 2 weeks, and we will do a full PowerPoint and go through right many of the other details. But basically, the total budget is $89,356,247, which is $4,149,701, or 4.8% more than the previous fiscal year. That's all combined budgets. It's not just general fund. That's general fund, schools, utilities, and debt retirement fund, all the funds combined. The general fund budget is $46,649,997, which is $1,712,928 more than this year, which is 3.81%. On a good news front, we're not proposing any tax increases or any fee increases in water and sewer rates or any other fees. So we propose to leave all those flat. The budget's comprised of 54.4% local revenues, 37% state revenues, 6.7% federal revenues, and 1.9% transfers from the general fund balance and other miscellaneous sources. We propose to use $1,399,000 from the general fund balance to balance the budget. That's money that we put aside in last year's fund balance, and I'm going to have sheet that's going to work through from fund balance from 2013 to where I think it'll be in 2018, and show you that while that's a big number percentage-wise, we're going to remain real close to 15% general fund balance, which is what our goal is to stay at. In 14, we were almost 17% or more fund balance, because we had put some money in the fund balance for this year. Increases in local transfer to school operating fund. We propose to take that to $12,330,680. That's a $330,680 increase from this current year. We also propose to increase transfers to the school operating fund for bus leases to $209,301. This is an increase of $91,918 from the previous year, and that's for the lease of 5, if I remember the number right, 5 buses. Some of those are special needs buses as well. We project, and this has been approved in the General Assembly budget, $449,606 increase in state revenue to the schools. So if you combine the $449,606 with the $330,680, you'll see that that's a fair increase, amount of increase in funding to the school budget. We propose 2 full-time positions. One's a maintenance worker in Public Works, and the other is a solid waste truck driver. If you remember, over the last several years, we've taken on right much in-house recycling that was all contract work, and just last year we took on recycling for the schools. So we've added a significant amount of driving on our routes due to all the recycling. And we showed you a significant savings in that over those 2 programs. And in that savings, we had figured having to add another truck to the route to be able to do that. So it's all part of that saving. We're still way ahead from having that in the private sector. In the Department of Social Services, they've asked for 2 part-time positions, Human Services Assistant 3, Benefit Program Screener and Admin, and a Benefit Program Specialist 2. Those are both part-time. We've proposed $413,437 for a 2.5% pay increase effective July 1 for all full-time and part-time employees under County Administrator, Constitutional Officers, and Social Services. We've included $1,427,893 for the following capital purchases. $327,693 for the lease purchase of 9 new sheriff's vehicles, and I'll be able to show you the detail on the cars that are being replaced. $150,000 for improvements to Ladysmith Volunteer Fire Department. You're all familiar with that. $50,000 for repairs to Bowling Green Volunteer Fire Department. $450,000 for a conventional cab fire truck to replace the 1984 Port Royal Volunteer Fire pumper tanker, and this would be lease purchase, so I'm not proposing that we spend $450,000 all up front, but we would like to lease that. $175,000 for a new ambulance to replace a 2005 unit. That would also be lease purchase. $70,000 for extraction equipment to the Department of Fire and Rescue, and that'll be funded by grant, so that's not a general fund revenue. $135,000 for a solid waste roll-on truck. That's also lease purchase. And we'll remember the last one of those we bought was when the engine failed, and we had to buy one sort of as an emergency. And then $70,200 for an installation of fencing at Lewis and Clark Elementary School, and that's some school set-aside funding that's also not general fund funding, something that they have to use on the school. $1,083,836 is the increase in debt service payments for the general fund, general government, and schools. This does include $571,802 one-time payment for the remaining payment on the Ladysmith Library. So while that looks like a big number, that is just most of that is going to be in one payment. We project 42 new water and 39 new sewer connections, and the increase to the general fund transfer to support utility debt services $83,302 over the current year. We expect increased funding to Comprehensive Services Act program of $314,698, but as you know, that's one of those things that's mandated and we don't really have lots of control over. We propose to purchase a pickup truck and utilities for $42,000 to replace an existing service truck, and we can show you the repairs on what we're spending on that. And we propose to purchase a pickup truck and building and grounds for $35,000 to replace a 2002 GMC with 255,000 miles on it. Also another vehicle that we're experiencing significant dollars on. So those are the highlights. We've got a couple charts in there. You can see where things are going and what departments, and you can see a breakdown of expenditures of all funds on the second page. So with that, I don't want to labor on too much tonight. We'll go into more detail, at the public hearing and see what the public thinks, and then if anything you want to change. Obviously, I've got to add $8,000 in there for what you've asked me. No, I'd already gone up 1,000, so that would be $8,000 more other than that. But if you have any general questions, I know it's a lot to take in, but we think it's doable, and I'll show you the detail. I know it's spending out of the fund balance, but I'll show you that we put that money aside to make this year, and how good a shape we're becoming in future years, not counting any further development and things like that. But obviously, we got some businesses under construction right now that are going to bring us more tax revenue next year and the year after.
I guess the only question I would have is you said with this we will still have 15%.
Real close, like 14.8 one year. We build back up. We go down this year, we'll go down next year, and then the year after that we'll be coming back up, because debt service basically decreases $980,000 each year over the next 2 years, and that includes taking into account that we will have to repay the $7 million that we borrowed, $2 million plus for schools, and the $5 million for the Y. That takes that into consideration. Haven't left anything out that's a surprise. I mean, we factored in debt service moving forward, and it still goes down about 900 and some plus a year over the next 2 years, 17 and 18.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr.
Could Mr. Cully provide us with a breakdown of last year's expenditures as well? The reason I ask that is because oftentimes we hear about from some groups saying, well, you're reducing your funding to us every year, and I just want to make sure if that's the case.
We can do that.
Okay.
Other board members
like
have
this from last year.
We can do that.
Other board members have questions regarding the proposed budget? Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Okay, that takes us to appointments. We need appointments for the Board of Assessors for the Mattapani and Reedy Church districts. Do you, Mr. Akers or Mr. Underwood, do you have?
I have mine. It's Mr. Thomas. He's Mattapani.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas. Do you have a person for?
Yes,
Board of
Mr.
Assessors?
Chairman. George Spinner has agreed to serve on the Board of Assessors, and he completed the training last week.
Okay, Mr. Spinner. Okay, Mr. Akers, and we can just vote on.
You can do
Mr.
both at the
Underwood,
same
yes,
time.
Mr. Underwood's Reedy Church. I've got mine. That's all right. I understand.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mr. Underwood.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Eddie Terrell has agreed to serve, and she also went through the training last week, so.
Okay. All right, then we will entertain a motion to add Mr. Spinner
Eddie Terrell.
and is it Mrs. Turrell?
Yes.
And Mrs. Turrell.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that George Spinner from the Mattapani District and Mrs. Addie Terrell be appointed to the Board of Assessors.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we add the names of Mr. Spinner and.
Mr. Chairman, you need a second.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we would add the names of Mr. Turrell, Mrs. Turrell, and Mr. Spinner to the Board of Assessors. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. Okay, that takes us to appointments for the Germanna Community College Board of Directors. I don't know if any board members have a person for that position. I have talked to Mrs. Cleo Coleman, who lives in Port Royal, who has served not in the Germanna Community College, but a community college in Pennsylvania. She served in that position, and she's someone that we know, and she has agreed. The present person serving has served 2 terms and can no longer serve. So,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Mrs. Cleo Coleman to the Germanna Community College Board of Directors.
is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we would appoint Mrs. Cleo Coleman to the Germanna Community College Board of Directors. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries unanimously. I would also like to publicly thank Mrs. Sherry Gravitt, who has served in that position for 2 terms. Did an excellent job representing the county, but can only serve for 2 terms, and so that's why we had to replace her. And if I could just ask staff if we could put together a letter thanking her for the services that.
And ask her to come to a board meeting and present it, please, or something like that?
We can do that. We can do that. We can have her come to the board meeting and present it at that time. Okay. That takes us to the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any board member would like to pull? A is approval of warrants. B is approval of the Planning Commission schedule. C is approval of livestock damage claim. And D is approval of agreement for the use of the Virginia State Police STARS Tower for the county radio system. If there are no board members wishing to pull any item from the consent agenda, we can entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's moved and properly second that we would approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. Okay. Yeah. We could look at, under new business number 7, a request of waiver fees for the use of the Community Services Center for the Relay for Life team. We can entertain a motion at this time. Okay. Okay, Alan.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff received a request from Mrs. Sylvia Montgomery to waive the fees for use of one of the rooms at the EOC. She represents a Relay for Life team, and as a fundraiser, they plan to take some of the old timey photos like you see down at Virginia Beach, for example, and would like to the board to consider waiving the fees, which are about, well, it's $375, but if you leave the refundable deposit in place, it would actually be $345. But they would like to use the room for I think it's 4 hours one day and 8 hours another day, and then come back with another half day once the pictures are taken so that people can actually view the results.
Which room are they using?
The room that we have available is the first room that's closest to the kitchen.
Okay. So it does not create any issues?
No, I've already checked with Public Works, and that room is available. Under the policy, the staff has the ability to waive fees if the organization is clearly affiliated directly with the county, but since this is not, only the board could approve it.
Okay. Mr. Seeley, you have a question?
I guess my question, Mr. Pardon, is there somebody already is the rest of the building already in use? Is somebody already going to be here?
Yes, my understanding is at least on one of the days, there may be one day when all the rooms are available, but at least one of the day, there's only one of the 3 rooms available. And I think that may be the case. I'd have to double check. But I think there may be somebody there for the other day as well.
So we're not opening the whole building for just one?
I don't believe that's the case.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we would need a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we would waiver the fees for the use of the Community Services Center for the Relay for Life team. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, can we do 9A, which would be the board's resolution asking the school board to name the field after Tony Beasley?
We could do that. Okay. Basically, Mr. Thomas has asked that we would, that the board would put together a resolution asking the school board to name the field for Mr. Beasley in honor of his significant achievements in baseball.
Major League Baseball.
And Major League Baseball. So we can entertain a motion to do that at this time.
That would be the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, then it is moved and properly second that the board would request from the school board to name the baseball field in honor of Mr. Beasley, who played Major League Baseball. All in favor, let it be known by saying